Tonight on ABC7 News, vaccine hesitancy in communities of color. This is what medical experts are highly concerned about after the CDC recommends to stop the use of the J&J vaccine to investigate cases of blood clots.
And is the supply shortage getting worse? Thousands of appointments are canceled. We're digging into how the state is rescheduling.
And I'm Dr. Alok Patel, part of the vaccine team. Tune in. We're going to be taking all your vaccine questions about the science, what to look for with regards to all these headlines, how the rollout's going, and what you can do to keep yourself and your community safe.
Building a better Bay Area. Moving forward, finding solutions. This is ABC7 News.
This is going to complicate things, I'm afraid.
Complicate may be an understatement for the confusion and concern over blood clots linked to the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Amma Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. For the next 15 minutes, we are going all in on the issues around the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, including who's affected, how Bay Area counties are responding, plus a live interview with Dr. Alok Patel. He's a member of the ABC7 News Vaccine Team. Of almost 7 million patients who received this shot, keep in mind 6 women developed a rare blood clot disorder. It is literally a 1 in a million event, so that's important perspective to have here. But it was enough that today the FDA and the CDC called for an immediate pause on the use of that single-dose vaccine. All 50 states have heeded that advice, including ours, California, obviously. We'll begin our team coverage with ABC7 News reporter Stephanie Sierra. She's tracking how many appointments, Stephanie, are going to be affected in the coming days by this.
Yes, Dan, tens of thousands of appointments will be impacted across the state. But the good news is the state's supply of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine was already shrinking. So most providers and mass vaccination sites haven't been relying on those doses to maintain the majority of appointments.
Pulling the J&J vaccine from our clinics and our distribution network.
Following a meeting with the White House COVID-19 task force, the governor is temporarily pausing any use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine while the CDC and FDA investigate a handful of rare blood clotting cases.
We will learn more about some of the nuances and details in terms of where those vaccines were administered and who those individuals are.
The state received more than 67,000 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine this week, 8,800 of which are currently scheduled appointments on the state's MyTurn site.
And we're working to convert those reservations to Moderna and Pfizer alternatives.
The good news, as UCSF's Dr. George Rutherford explains,
We weren't using very much J&J vaccine.
the state adding, we do not expect a significant impact to our vaccine allocations. The data paints a clearer picture as to why. ABC7 analyzed the CDC's latest vaccine totals. Of the more than 23 million doses administered in California, Johnson & Johnson vaccines make up less than 4%, whereas Moderna's vaccine makes up 45%. Pfizer, even more, at 50%.
The Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine are perfectly safe. I don't want people to generalize from this. This is a specific problem with this vaccine and the AstraZeneca vaccine. This is 6 people out of 6.8 million doses that have been administered. It's a 1 in a million complication.
And Rutherford is confident, even with the projected supply loss, the state is still on track to reopen the economy by June.
I don't think this really sets back Governor Newsom's goal of June 15th either. We'll get this figured out.
Now, the CDC expects these blood clot cases will be fully vetted within a matter of days. Meantime, the state says the pause will not be impacting the eligibility expansion for anyone 16 and older, which is still set to happen this Thursday. Stephanie Sierra, ABC7 News.
Hey, Steph, since you've been in touch with the state today, do you know how people will be notified of their appointment change?
Yes, the state is actually sorting through that now, Dan. If you had previously scheduled an appointment with the Johnson & Johnson dose, you'll be notified through the state's MyTurn site. Now, the state has asked other providers to do the same. Meantime, if you're dealing with a smaller clinic, though, you can expect a text, call, even an email from your provider to reschedule your appointment.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Steph.
Well, it's not surprising that a revelation like this might alarm those who've just received the vaccine. We spoke with 2 women today who were vaccinated recently. One is concerned, the other is not.
I feel like if I were going to have any effects, any negative effects, I would have had them already. I personally am feeling fine. My family's feeling fine. I'm not worried about me.
You hear all these medical advisors saying it's safe, take whatever one you can, and then having news come up out of nowhere is a little concerning.
The principal investigator for Stanford's Phase 3 Johnson & Johnson trial says none of the volunteers had an adverse reaction. But he says taking a few days to pause and investigate shows that the monitoring system is working. And for months, our ABC7 News vaccine team has been answering your questions and bringing you stories about how to get a shot and what to expect. Tonight, 2 members join us live. Dr. Alok Patel will be answering your questions. First, though, let's hear from ABC7 News reporter Luz Pena. And Luz, there's a group of people who were unsure about vaccines before all this, and now they're even more hesitant.
Absolutely, Emma, and transparency will be key moving forward because for months, community members and medical experts gained the community's trust with COVID test sites in those neighborhoods. That was followed by community vaccination hubs, and news like this could set that entire work back. As a black man, Malcolm John went into medicine to help his community. He's an infectious disease specialist at UCSF. And after seeing how blacks were 3 times more likely to die from COVID, he led an effort to vaccinate his community in the churches. J&J was the main vaccine they administered.
We are partners with the community. We are from the community. So does this concern me? Yes, for a number of reasons. Obviously, 1, the data itself. 2, its impact on those who have had the vaccine.
As the Johnson & Johnson news broke out, Dr. John says transparency will be key. For months, they gained the community's trust, and now this could set that work back.
Particularly the black community, which has had some historically higher rates of vaccine hesitancy and actually had embraced the J&J vaccine.
In the last 3 weeks, they've vaccinated 400 people, the majority African Americans. He says these reports of blood clots are extremely rare, and if there were any side effects within this local group, chances are he would know by now.
About 3 to 4 weeks ago.
So by now, you would know if somebody had some sort of reaction?
We should if they reported it to us, yes.
And nothing yet?
We have heard nothing.
On Saturday, they were planning to vaccinate 200 community members with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
That has been placed on pause. We will be contacting those individuals, letting them know about the pause and other opportunities to be vaccinated within the city.
Dr. John will be holding town halls this week for the African American community to target those hesitancy questions. He says the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine continue to show high efficacy, and this should not discourage people from wanting to get vaccinated. Luz Pena, ABC7 News.
And Luz, we know that San Francisco's Glide Church has been using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to vaccinate the homeless population. So what's the plan with that?
The San Francisco Glide Memorial Church Group is also stopping the Johnson & Johnson vaccination for now. So far, 300 of their vaccines have gone to the Tenderloin residents in that area, and the majority of those have been homeless. They're now pivoting to the Moderna vaccine.
All right. Thank you so much, Luz.
All right, let's continue our coverage now from our ABC7 News vaccine team. We're bringing in Dr. Alok Patel. Doctor, on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about the blood clots in J&J's vaccine?
Oh, Dan, that's a tough question. I'm gonna say, with regard to how worried I am about the potential risk of this rare blood clot, I'm gonna put that at like a 1 or 2. But with regards to the effect this may have in terms of vaccine hesitancy, other end of the spectrum, I'm putting that like at an 8. And so I think there's 2 potential effects from this, and I am more worried about what's going to happen with regards to people's trust in the process when the surveillance that's happened should actually boost trust. And Dan, the one thing I want to get out, a lot of people today are really bashing on the statistics, and they're kind of downplaying the fact that there's still 6 women who were severely affected from this, 1 who lost her life. So I just want to make sure people are cognizant that, you know, there's still people out there who are worried about them, and I'm sincerely hoping that that's taken into account when people speak about this.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Blood clots, they are serious. Now, doctor, we have a viewer who wants your help. So Helen wrote to us, and Helen says, I had the J&J vaccine yesterday, and I am on hormone replacement patches. Should I stop using the patches for 2 weeks? Now, we know you're not her doctor, but you are a doctor. So what can you tell her?
Well, what I would tell Helen directly is I'm basically citing what you may read from the CDC or the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. And hormone therapy, whether it's a patch or oral contraceptives, can increase your risk of blood clots. It's a different type of blood clot than what's being reported in the rare blood clots in these 6 cases. Now, with that being said, we have not yet determined that there's any link between the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and these 6 cases. It was paused out of an abundance of caution just to kind of get a closer look at what happened in these cases. So as of right now, I would not tell Helen that there is any indication for her to stop this therapy, but if she has any particular questions, to absolutely check in with her OB-GYN, her family doctor, or whoever is actually monitoring that therapy for her.
Okay. Hey, finally, Alok, with this full stop on J&J, at least for the moment, will this adversely impact the vaccination rate just as it was really accelerating?
And from a supply chain standpoint, I don't think it's going to really hinder it as much as it could if it were Pfizer, Moderna, or if there was a ramp up in supply. We already saw that 15 million kind of pause that was going to happen because of the manufacturing issue. Fortunately, I think we will still get to a good goal in, March, April. I'm sorry, we're out of March, but in April and May. But Dan, one thing I want to mention here is we keep talking about vaccine hesitancy and the Black and brown community, but remember, vaccine hesitancy is still very high among young adults and white Republican men, according to polls. And so, we just need to make sure that we're really coming out with transparent, reassuring message to all Americans, because I can imagine there's a lot of questions right now and a lot of potential hesitancy.
And this may just fuel that. Okay, Doctor, thanks. Dr. Alok Patel, thank you. Remember, you can submit your questions to the ABC7 News Vaccine Team simply by going to abc7news.com/vaccine. You'll find a big blue box to click on.
Across the Bay Area, health departments and clinics have been scrambling to try to fulfill today's vaccine appointments. ABC7 News reporter Matt Boone has more on how Bay Area counties have handled the sudden loss of supply.
At the vaccination site at Contra Costa College in San Pablo, things seemed normal. The site had been administering Johnson & Johnson shots, but had enough Moderna to cover the people coming in.
To me, I was thinking like a shot's a shot. It's probably fine.
Contra Costa County said only 4% of their vaccines were Johnson & Johnson and did not have to cancel any appointments today. Same in Marin County, though they are being forced to change their homeless outreach plan.
Unfortunately, now we're having to shift to Pfizer for those mobile operations. So we're going to continue that pace, but it's going to be with a different product that's just not as easy to work with.
San Francisco Mayor London Breed recently got her dose of the J&J vaccine, but today she said she hadn't felt any negative symptoms, though she called the news worrisome.
If I had it to do all over again, I'd still get the vaccine and in light of the new information, probably would choose another option.
Sky 7 was over the Oakland Coliseum, which had transitioned to using the J&J shot, but county officials said they were able to switch to Pfizer this morning, saying they don't expect any cancellations. And in Santa Clara County, officials there say they're also working to make sure the change doesn't disrupt their vaccination goals either.
We certainly are switching out all of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and making the proper arrangements to make sure that any dose that we give a Moderna or Pfizer will be followed up by a second dose.
Matt Boone, ABC7 News.
Now, you heard from Dr. Marty Finstersheib with Santa Clara County there. We talked with him during an event the county was very eager for. Santa Clara County is opening up vaccinations to anyone age 16 and older. The county is excited to have the doses to do that.
The county system is receiving a lot of vaccines, significant increase in vaccine supply that's coming directly from the federal government. Combined with the increase from our state, we now have enough vaccine really to quickly reach our goal of protecting our entire community.
So very encouraging news. Residents or those who work in the county and are at least 16 years of age can book appointments through the county's website. San Francisco also expanded vaccine eligibility today to include anyone over 16, joining Alameda and Contra Costa counties. On Thursday, California expands vaccine eligibility statewide to anyone 16 and up. Starting at midnight on Thursday, you can go to myturn.ca.gov to look for a vaccine appointment anywhere in the state, in fact. There will no longer be limits on having to stay within your county. So wherever you can get an appointment, you can go. But as we've reported, demand consistently outpaces supply. So prepare to be patient.
Keep that in mind, definitely. Well, getting vaccinated is a big step to getting back the lifestyle we used to have. Tonight, a step-by-step guide for going to a Warriors game in a pandemic. Also ahead.
I'm not incarcerated. I haven't been incarcerated. So I'm not really sure how that worked out.
Well, it seems pretty obvious that he's not in jail, but the EDD thinks he is. So he turned to 7 on Your Side's Michael Finney for some help.
Spencer Christian, it is breezy and chilly outside right now, but relief is right around the proverbial corner. I'll have the AccuWeather forecast coming up when ABC7 News at 6 continues.